Why is Kodya strong? By me. Welcome back to Why They're Strong. Why They're Strong is a mini-series I'm going to be doing to dismiss misconceptions / inaccuracies people in the PM fandom love to say about ID strength. This video series was originally inspired by someone in my comments rage-baiting about Mercedes not belonging in the top 7. While the idea of this series is created out of spite, I want to go in-depth and explain things that I love regarding IDs and arguing why they deserve to be this strong. Or, in one particular case, I'll say I wish they were nerfed. I'm not always going to cover top tiers though, don't worry. I hope this will help you to consider why an ID is strong rather than trying to slander their usability just because you don't have them. Subscribe if you like this sort of content. This AO Oni Gort was done by my girlfriend for some fucking reason, just because I have purple lighting in my room. Lobotomy Ego, the Sword Sharpened with Tears Rodian. Released on August 17th, 2025, Lobotomy Ego, the Sword Sharpened with Tears Rodian. We are calling her Kodya because of the abno Knight of Despair that she's based on. Not this long-ass Ego name, is the second closest we will ever get to an ID that deserves to be strong. She's strong for all the right reasons and an amazing supportive unit for singing on top of being a really good tank and DPS unit due to her role change mechanic, poise / negative SP, and how they interact with her toolkit. Blessing, positive SP. First, we are going to be talking about her positive coin tanking state, which, to some, is not the main draw of the ID, but I still find her to be sufficient for what she does, smiley face. Saying smiley face out loud so you know I'm smiling. Protecting Sword is her main mechanic in her positive coin state, actively giving her both defense level up and aggro up to 15 stacks in her leftmost slot. These are pretty good all things considered due to her crazy high health pool, 276, to sponge up all the damage she takes. Holy fuck, her clashes. In positive coin state, her clashing power is directly tied to conditionals with both sinking and protecting Sword, completely independent of her unique charge deep tiers, besides her skill 3 absorbing for more base power. Her clashes are fucking absurd for a tank, being 19, 25, 33. Her skill 2 clashes like an average sinking ID skill 3. And her skill 3 clashes like a fucking ego. This is offset by the fact in this mode she's barely sinking neutral on her skill 3 and more potency focused, but as we're in the age of crazy singing out, especially when Ujadis just released, I don't think that matters enough to really act like it's a detriment. The only real downside I can give these skills is their lower than average damage output, which makes sense. This is the tank mode. Speaking of her tanking skills even better. On top of her defense level up from Protected Sword, her passive allows her to take up to 20% less damage from attacks, which adds on to the protection stack she gets from her passive, and defense level up, make her take upwards of around over 40% damage reduction. I'm too lazy for defense level up calculations, someone in the comments can do that for me, please. This is pretty significant as sinking teams haven't really had a consistent tank that's also good to supplement count. Now, her tanking is crazy, but it's not even the main draw of this ID. Despair, minus SP. DPS mode, sacrificing defense level up and protection for offense level up and sinking count. The easiest way to access this is through her defense skill, Knight's Face, that loses SP for her and gains Tears Sharpened. Funnily enough, you don't have to go all the way with this, and you still can gain Clash Power up in Blessing mode. If you have Tears Sharpened, it will stack with the SP loss from her defensive skill to have it upwards of minus 45 SP on turn and to enter the state. Despair state benefits from Tears Sharpened by gaining Pierce power up comparative to Blessing's simple Clash power up, showing how more damage focused overall Despair is compared to Blessing's tankiness. I forgot to mention, and I probably should have first thing, but all of her skills transition from skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, Clashable Guard to skill 1-2, skill 2-2, skill 3-2, Clashable Counter, due to it being an entirely new kit based off minus SP. Nuke. Over 500 potential damage on her skill 3-2 on a sinking unit. Are you fucking kidding me? Since most of her scaling of conditions is on offense level up and final power up on her skills, she rolls in clashes as much as she rolls in attacks. Also, another thing, due to how tier sharp and consumption work, this skill gains its very own reuse on the final coin, the overall most damaging one to inflict even more output to her damage. For example of how much of a bigger difference skill 3-2's damage is, skill 3-1 actually only does an upwards of 164.8 maximum potential damage, while 3-2 does 526.1 maximum potential damage. That is a 361.3 difference in potential maximum damage. This shit is like fucking sinking delusion in your back pocket. It's so fucking good. Do you want infinite sinking count? Sinking upkeep is a solved game. For some godforsaken reason, Kodya, in her infinite wisdom, can inflict plus sinking count no matter what, making every skill of her sinking count positive. As this is dependent on SP, and in Blessing State, you can easily gain SP and keep using the defensive skill to further stack tier sharpening to lose SP. You basically get plus 3 singing count inflicted on a clash, and plus 3 singing count on the first hit of a skill. As no skill that Kodya has is above 3 coins, that means even if double slotted, she will be at minimum neutral, and at maximum, plus 4, plus 5, and plus 7 in terms of count when utilizing her skills. Skill 2/skill 3 also inflict count. This, on top of every good singing count affliction that's already existed, is just broken and overpowered. Literally makes it a mockery out of the word upkeep. Quick explanation of what I mean by positive count. A lot of people that watch my videos are more on the casual side of the player base, myself included. I'm just a nerd for team building lol, and don't understand the idea of positive count. When I talk about positive count, I mean that count inflicted by a skill tied to a on-hit status, rupture, sinking, is higher than the total coins it uses. A good example for this is Kodya's skill 3-2, as it applies 4 singing count but only uses 3 coins. 4 minus 3 equals 1, meaning you at least be 1 singing count positive after utilizing the skill. On the contrary, if the result was 0, then it would be neutral count. If the result was lower than 0, it would be negative count. I hope that explanation makes some semblance of sense to what I mean by positive count. Insane ego synergy. I do not have the Rhymeshank Rhodian ego. However, my friends who do have it said it would be a waste to not include it. With their expressed blessing, I'm going to talk about Rhymeshank. Due to her sin affinity, she more than fuels Rhymeshank herself, but in fact, sinking teams have no shortage of getting Gloom/Envy to support this, even if she herself magically can't for some reason. Rhymeshank is just stupid. 3 attack weight, 1 coin ego skill that inflicts 5 potency, 5 count for sinking. I could stop there, but there's somehow more to give with this ego given how its passive coldness actually directly debuffs targets with 5+ sinking by inflicting a bind and attack power down up to 3 times per enemy. As ego passives are active after use, you can pop this for insane sinking count support and then not have to worry about it ever again on top of switching to despair to make the most out of the passive. Inflicting 3 bind and 3 attack power down as debuffs is fucking absurd for sinking teams, and it's so easy to obtain given Kodya's infinite count. Why is Kodya strong? All in all, it comes to the fact that Kodya has no defining weaknesses and actually alleviates a lot of weaknesses that singing IDs are known for. She's strong, but for good reason. Her strength makes sense. She isn't the most unga bunga turn your brain off ID concerning that she actually takes some thought. There's actually use cases for Blessing concerning its clash is better than Despair. Not by much, but enough to consider, and she doesn't ruin sinking even if she's strong. She's a well thought out improvement to the sinking meta rather than a team fully reliant on her. She provides amazing support, is easy to use, and is fun and interesting. Kodya is an awesome ID and I'm so happy she is. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching this installation of why they're strong. I plan to have some fun explaining more IDs and their effectiveness in the future, even outside of the quote-unquote top tier. Anyways, have a good day, be good people.
To the big one, it's all up to you. I'm a phantom now living a new kind of life. Though my work has turned to the size of an ant.